Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the economy update for BIGTIME, released today. It's the 18th of October 2023. Alright, so a few things we need to go through in this update. The first one is going to be the prestige portals. So it says we've made modifications to the entry restrictions to the prestige portals to achieve several key objectives. Number one, increase the likelihood of using general cosmetic tags, including but not limited to preseason, craftable, early access, and origin. So we're going to start seeing some general cosmetic tags, which is including but not limited to preseason, craftable, early access, and origin. So if you have those origin and early access items, you should still be able to find those dungeons, as well as now new preseason items and anything that's been craftable. On that note, you'll notice that hourglasses have been changed. They no longer have the same attributes that they used to, so you can't use them in the same way that you used to be able to use them. It has to be actual either weapons or armor or titles now. Increase the probability of setting rarity requirements for cosmetics, always keeping the upper limit open-ended. For example, at least 2 rare, 2 unique. So rare or above, or legendary or above. And so the idea now is that you're always going to have some form of rarity, but if you've got a rarity higher than it, you will be able to use it. Reduce the chances of encountering miscellaneous cosmetic tags such as silver, table, etc. So a lot of the things that were popping up that people just didn't have, they're not going to necessarily be a problem anymore. So things like colors, things like maybe some cosmetic craftable items like decorations, you're not going to be seeing as much of those tags. It's going to be focused more on the crafting tree and the cosmetics that people are going to be crafting in the game, putting much more focus on that. And then harmonizing the entry cost amounts in terms of time crystals and BIGTIME. Specifically, a cosmetic restriction increase or decrease the cost and vice versa. So if you're going with a common to a dungeon that requires a common cosmetic, you will pay more in crystals and BIGTIME. Whereas if you have a unique or you have something of a higher rarity, you will pay less in terms of your time, crystals, and BIGTIME. So something to consider there, that the higher rarity NFTs are now going to play a more significant role with better utility. Even though they're going to cost more to craft in the first place, they're going to make it cheaper as you run more dungeons. So just something to consider there. With these changes, our aim is to enhance the Prestige Portal's core design goal, which is to reward cosmetic collectible holders, and simultaneously, we want to provide a more consistent user experience in terms of cost and tag restrictions. Alright, so that's the Prestige Portals. Hourglass Crafting. This is a big one, so we're going to go through this now. Time wardens are pivotal to BIGTIME's economy, and we've intrinsically designed them to feature timers, whether in crafting hourglasses or recharging them. However, we've observed that the majority of time wardens are occupied crafting hourglasses, and few are occupied recharging hourglasses due to the speed up feature. Well, actually, I think the reason for that is because people have been able to sell them on the marketplace for $30, and why would you not craft a common and sell it for $30? It made perfect sense. So people were crafting and selling as opposed to crafting to keep. And so what's happened now, this has resulted in a progression of hourglasses along the rarity spectrum to exceed our initial projections. People are now rushing to upgrade to get those uncommons, rares, and to sell them. That's what people are doing. They're looking to flip and see if they can sell them. So in response to this, we've decided to implement the following measures to control the surge of hourglass production from crafting actions. We're going to extend the crafting duration for hourglasses. So it's going to take you longer to craft them. We're going to increase the crafting costs for hourglasses. I think you'll find in some cases they've doubled. And they're going to increase the amount of hourglasses needed for crafting the early rarity hourglasses. So anything from uncommon up to legendary, instead of needing 3, it will now require 4. So you will need 4 common hourglasses to craft an uncommon. It will cost you double the premium currency, and it's going to take longer as well. So a big nerf to the crafting. We might, as a result of that, see, and in fact we already have seen, if we look at the marketplace, we can see prices have doubled already. The floor of the common hourglasses has already doubled, and we've also seen the token price, it's had a little bit of a pump up from where it was earlier at around 14.5 cents back up to about 16 cents. So some initial buy pressure there for people trying to clear up the floors on these items. It'd be interesting to see how that continues over the next few days and weeks. So hourglasses serve as the conduit for BIGTIME, ensuring a balanced supply is paramount for our game economy, and these changes are aimed at preserving equilibrium that makes the decision to craft hourglasses have more weight. So they're basically just making it more expensive to be able to craft. You're being penalized now for crafting more hourglasses, and the idea is that you craft them and then you recharge them. People are spending too much time selling them on the market and making good money, which is understandable. So it looks like that gravy train's coming to an end. And so you'll have to consider and look at the time and cost now compared to the value. All right, so let's go into hourglass recharging. Recharging hourglasses is undoubtedly one of the most intrinsic elements of BIGTIME's game economy, primarily because it's the initial production step for generating BIGTIME. This positions it as an especially sensitive aspect of the economy. When we initially designed the recharge feature, we anticipated that a significant portion of Time Warden's activities would revolve around recharging and less on crafting hourglasses. However, the current scenario deviates from our expectations. Many players are opting to speed up this process, leading to a surge in the total cost of recharging using time crystals. Most of these costs are allocated to expedite the recharging process rather than the initial recharge cost. So in order to further distribute the time spent by Time Wardens between recharging and crafting hourglasses, we did the following. Increase the base cost for recharging hourglasses. With these changes, we want to make sure Time Wardens' tasks like crafting, recharging, and dismantling are spread out evenly. We want the cost to recharge hourglasses to be split between using time crystals and waiting for the recharge to be done, instead of the majority of recharges to be done using time crystals without any speeding up, without much waiting. Basically what they've done is they've just created a lot of opportunities here for you to spend more time crystals, which is the premium currency which goes directly into the pockets of the developers. So what it looks like here is that we're going to be seeing a lot more money flowing out of people's pockets towards the developers. And if that is not balanced in the drop rate that we're going to see as a result, what we're going to find now is it's going to become a much, much leaner, tighter economy. Maybe that was designed, but it's going to be fascinating to see how the community reacts to that, because the expectations were set at launch. And whilst those expectations have been exceeded in terms of what the team expected would happen, and people were able to make some good money from that, and that is what created that hype, I don't think the team wanted it to go that way. And now they're trying to rein it back, and they're trying to just make it more expensive for people so that they don't do all of that trading and flipping. But that in turn could have a negative effect on the growth of the game at the moment. Maybe that's kind of what the team's looking to do. Maybe they're not quite ready yet to be able to push this out, and they want to keep it smaller. But it's going to be very interesting to see if people can break even, to work out the costs, to understand what works and what doesn't. And just how much money is going to be generated into that economy. Also now with the focus being on crafting to increase the rarity of these items, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the leaderboard now. Anyone that went out and purchased Time Wardens are going to find some challenges with those, although we have now seen the price of Time Wardens started to increase again. So if we had a look just yesterday, Time Wardens had dropped, and the value of them at the time was around $200 from their all-time high of what was $400. We saw them drop down to under $200. And if we have a look now, they're back up right now to about $260 as a floor right now. So we're starting to see those prices creep back up already in Time Wardens, which is good. So whilst we might look at the initial impact that it's going to cost more to be able to craft these items, it's also adding more value to the Hourglasses, to the Time Wardens, and people wanted them to be worth more money. So we have to kind of take into consideration, now this only works if there's people buying them. And so if people stop buying them and we start to slow down, the economy starts to slow down, there's not much volume in it, then we need to look at the drop rates, we need to look at how people are going to change and shift up the meta. But it does look we're going to focus and we're going to shift into a crafting meta, and that's going to be coming soon. So closing notes. Our game economy is in its early stages, and I don't think we can stress that enough. Like when the teams say that, it is very true. They are going to be tweaking and changing things. And so my own personal opinion and advice is not to make any long-term plans or strategies to be able to do anything, because it's going to change. So our game economy is in its early stages and it's bound to see changes. Rest assured, every shift we make is with a clear aim to better the game for everyone involved. We're not just passive observers, we're actively monitoring and adjusting to make sure the gameplay remains rich and rewarding for all. Your voice plays a vital role in this journey, but we can't emphasize enough how much we value your feedback. So please keep the comments coming on Discord. Together we will refine and improve. And remember, keep on crafting. So that's what they want us to do. They want us to focus on crafting. They're going to make that more of a focal point, and less around flipping on the marketplace. So something to consider. We're going to see how this impacts the game. That's pretty much it for now. Quite a big update. Definitely made some changes. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know your thoughts on this update. And also if you've seen in the community how they've reacted. Some people are fudding, some people are indifferent, some people are confused. There's been a very mixed reaction, but overall most people are a bit upset that they're not getting that gravy train, that easy money that was there initially at the very, very start. Now that's kind of been shut down. People are getting a bit angry about that, especially those that just went out and spent a lot of money to buy assets that now they're thinking aren't going to be valuable. It's a very short-term mindset, but it's definitely something that we're seeing. And also people that are just causing drama for the sake of causing drama, which always pop up on things like this. But I'm very interested, because obviously I value your opinion. What do you think of this? Like, if we can have an intelligent debate in the comments and we can talk about this, I'm keen to know your thoughts and understand what you think, both in the short and the long term, of what this patch and what the team are doing to adjust and to balance things.